Welcome, everybody, to Chinn Sports Talk. This is our first episode. This is where we're going to talk about everything sports, fantasy-wise, and then just everyday all-around sports. I got JC Replays, and we got Haphazard here. We're going to discuss various topics. Andy's going to kind of be like the moderator for between Replays and I, and we're going to already get into it and get started. All right, Andy, I'll let you announce the first topic.
All right, let's get started in the world of baseball today, guys. As of recording in the ALCS, we have 2 games going to Game 4 currently, but we're going to talk about the NLCS. The Mets defeating the Phillies and the Dodgers and Padres all tied up at 2-2. What do you all think is going to happen over on the NLCS side?
Dodgers had a big win last night on a bullpen game, and they really went after Dylan Cease fast. I think if tomorrow night, if the Dodgers can get off to a very fast start. I like the Dodgers in the game. I'm a huge Dodgers fan. I got the Dodgers hat on now. The Dodgers pitching, man, it's bad. They just have no pitchers. All their starting pitchers are injured. We're pretty much down to 2 pitchers out of 7 all-star pitchers on our roster. So if the Dodgers can get Yu Darvish out of there early and go after Yu Darvish, I expect a big night for the Dodgers. They have a great bullpen. So I like the Dodgers in Game 5 at home, setting up Game 1 of the NLCS against the Mets at home. I like the Dodgers here.
I also like the Dodgers, and their pitchers, been pretty bad, and on the Phillies, as this video's already up, we already lost. I'm a huge Phillies fan, but unfortunately we have lost. So, but I think Dodgers win that game.
And then on the ALCS side, I like the Tigers. I like the Tigers to upset the Guardians. The Tigers are playing great. And I think the Yankees are going to beat the Royals. I don't think they're going to do it tonight. I think the Royals will get the game tonight, but I think Game 5 going back to New York, I like the Yankees over the Royals, and I like the Tigers over the Guardians. I think the Tigers, here's a big one. I think the Tigers close the series out tonight. I think the Tigers win in 4. So I like that one. So
I got the same takes as you. I think New York is going to win, but at Game 5, and actually I do have the Guardians winning this game. As we're recording right now, also the score is 1-1 in the 4th inning, and I really think the Guardians do take this Game 4, but Game 5 it could go either way.
All right, guys, so switching over to some basketball news. The world of basketball has a lot of cool things going on in it right now, but first off, I want your all's opinion on the Karl-Anthony Towns trade to the Knicks.
You want to start this? Go ahead.
I wanted to start with this one. I think this is a big L for the Timberwolves because Karl-Anthony Towns, franchise player, him and Ant worked really well together, and their chemistry off and on the court was unbelievable. And Braden, did they downgrade? I think they downgraded. DiVincenzo's a really good player for them. Will be a really good player for them, and I don't know, Randall's not all that. And for the next side of it, I think it's really positive. Getting rid of Randall, who's been really injury prone, getting someone like Cat to fit that lineup really well. And they just got, was it Mikal Bridges, too, in this offseason. So I think the Knicks really won this trade.
I see those faces. What's going on here, Chinn?
I'm going to have to completely disagree with you on this. So I don't know what numbers you was looking at on this. Do you know Karl-Anthony Towns' points per game was down 7 by average last season? He went from averaging 25 points per game in 2022 to averaging 18 in 2023. Now, some of that you could debate that it was the emergence of Anthony Edwards, but he is also down 2 rebounds a game last year. So between those two stats, 7 points and 2 rebounds is what he was down last year. Karl-Anthony Towns, in my opinion, has not really lived up to the hype. He's still a dominant big man. He's still one of the top 3 players. I think the Wolves won this trade. Julius Randle is cheap, and he's also just as dominant as Karl-Anthony Towns. You ain't got to You ain't got, and they could not keep both Cat and Rudy Gobert on that offense. They just couldn't do it. And Rudy Gobert is already the better defensive player. So in my opinion, I think the Wolves won the trade. I think it does make the Knicks better. I'm not denying that at all. I think overall, Karl-Anthony Towns is a better player than Julius Randle, but they got a shooter out of it. They still got a premier 4 to pair with Rudy Gobert and Edwards. And now they have cap space to where they can do more with it if they want to next offseason. I think the Wolves won this trade, in my opinion.
I'm not going to totally disagree with that. I do definitely think the Wolves did a good trade, but if I had to pick, I think the Knicks would be looking better off the trade because, I mean, Cat is a much bigger name. Let's just leave it at that. He brings in a lot more
names don't win chips,
and that's don't matter. The Knicks need
names don't win chips.
The Knicks need that aura.
That's like
the Cat.
That's like Paul George on the Sixers. Y'all think that he's going to carry y'all to a championship?
Oh, that is a
we'll leave that for a later topic.
No, I think that's a good little switch up there. You two kind of got a little heated at it. Y'all got different opinions here. So let's move on to the Paul George and Joel Embiid mix up here on the 76ers. How will this pairing actually affect the team, and what do you all think the outlook is going to even look like?
I'll start on this one before you go. I'll start on this one because, as you know, I'm a Sixers fan, and I think we are winning the chip this year. This is our year, man. We got Joel Embiid cutting 30 pounds. Like, that was his whole issue, that he was too heavy and he was falling because he was too heavy, flopping. He's 30 pounds lighter. And let's not leave it at that. We got Tyrese Maxey looking like literally an all NBA. He was an all-star player last year. I think Tyrese Maxey's going to get even better this year. Pair that with Paul George, and we got great offseason acquisitions. I don't know, man. We are looking scary. And I think Joel Embiid is going to have an MVP year and probably finals MVP too.
So, what is Joel Embiid weighing in right now? You said he's down 30 pounds.
I'm not sure his exact weight, but he said 25 to 30 pounds less. That's what he said on the interview.
So he is probably what? Probably 260. Now he's probably like 230. I don't know why he is 260. He's probably like 240. He's probably like 210 now. Okay.
Yeah.
My first question on that question of concern, is Joel Embiid going to be able to stay healthy being down that much weight? Because
I think yes.
Because now, is he going to be able to bang with these big guys in the East? Is he going to be able to bang with the likes of Karl-Anthony Towns? Is he going to be able to bang with Bam Adebayo? Is he going to be able to bang with these guys now? I'm just asking. Like, or is he just going to get thrown to the side because he's so small now? Tall and lengthy don't lead to muscle.
Karl-Anthony Towns has been Joel Embiid's son for the past 5 years now.
Okay, I guess we'll see.
I'm fine with Bam Adebayo. But you can't bring Cat into this conversation.
Okay, all right. My next thing on this, everybody knows I'm a huge Paul George fan. Ever since he is with the Pacers. Pacers are my team. Haphazard here can vouch for me on that. I love Paul George. Absolutely love Paul George. The problem is, Paul George does not get the 76ers closer to a chip. I'm sorry to say it. Okay? Paul George is a dominant player, but the problem is that he struggled to stay healthy. Joel Embiid struggles to stay healthy. Tyrese Maxey could even lose some stardom here on this because Paul George is a ball-dominant player. So now you take a ball-dominant player like Tyrese Maxey out of the equation because Paul George is going to get a lot of those carries and bring the ball up the court in a lot of situations. So if anything, it is playoff P hasn't existed in 5 years. I'm sorry to say it. Paul George is on the north side of 30 now. Joel Embiid's getting older. I do not see this making the 76ers a much better team. It is time to put up or shut up for the 76ers. They're all talk. They've always been all talk. They need to win a championship. And then I might eat my words. I'm rooting for Paul George. I want him to win a championship. I don't want this to sound bad. But Paul George has struggled to stay healthy his entire career. for at least the last 7 years. You can say that he struggled to stay healthy. He's missed a lot of games. Just 3 years ago, he was an MVP up until he got injured. Now, ever since then, he struggled to stay healthy. It's just unfortunate for this team. It's unfortunate for this team. I like the 76ers roster, but I'm not so sure if they have enough right now to win a championship.
I want to go off that right one more time before we go to a new topic. I just want to read out the starting five for you. We got Tyrese Maxey at the 1. We got Kelly Oubre at the 2. Paul at the 3. Caleb Martin at the 4. And then Joel at the 5. That's a nice starting 5.
You know what that sounds like to me? That sounds like the LA Lakers of the East. The Lakers have a badass starting 5. You can't argue with that, but one thing, they can't win championships.
Yeah, but they're older.
So the 76ers are the Lakers of the East. That's their roster.
So
the Lakers
Maxey,
of the East. That's what we're going to call them.
We got the best young player in the league, and he's the Lakers.
Hey,
best guard in the league.
The Lakers of the East.
Time will tell. All right, so let's flip over to some football news. We got some exciting news coming out of the Jets camp here, where they fired head coach Robert Saleh in favor of an interim coach here. Jeff Ulbrich, he's going to step in as the interim coach and kind of take over this team for the rest of the season. What are your all's thoughts on how everything's going to go, and is this team going to be productive?
You can start, though.
All right. I mean, it's a win or lose league. That's when you're winning, nobody cares about what's going on in the organization. When you're losing, I mean, it's usually the head coach that goes first. So that's just usually how things go. Some head coaches are lucky enough to be able to make a quarterback change. Robert Saleh, unfortunately, he's not going to be able to make that call, especially now. But, yeah, I mean, it's a tough league, especially because, like, Robert Saleh was always a defensive-minded coach. Really, the only thing he needed was a good offense to carry him. They thought they was going to have that with Nathaniel Hackett. They thought they was going to have that with Aaron Rodgers. Clearly, they're not having it right now. Aaron Rodgers has played bad this season. Out of 5 games, you can argue Aaron Rodgers has only had one good game, and that was against a very, very bad New England Patriots defense and New England Patriots team in general, really. So, no, I mean, I'm interested to see if the Jets give Bill Belichick a call. I'm interested to see what happens with Ulrich here. So, I do support the decision. It is what it is. I mean, Robert Saleh, if you look at his record through his 3 seasons with the Jets, it's bad. It's not good. It hasn't been good. Nathaniel Hackett's been demoted. He's not even going to be play caller anymore. It's going to be Downing. So he's now promoted to, he's the quarterback's coach, I believe. He's going to be the offensive play caller now. Nathaniel Hackett is still going to stay on as the offensive coordinator. But no, the Jets are just in turmoil. If anything, because I like Aaron Rodgers, I hope this slingshots the Jets into like stardom and pushes Aaron Rodgers to be back to what he should be. I mean, Robert Saleh all offseason has not been in control of this team. You can clearly see that. It's clear as day. Aaron Rodgers not showing up for mandatory training camp, and he's citing the reason because, I had plans, or he went to a party or something like that. Where's your head actually at, Aaron Rodgers? And I'm speaking directly to you right now, because clearly your head's not at football or in football right now. It looks like you're just doing this for fun. If you're not playing for championships in the NFL or any sport, why are you playing at all? So that's my take on that. I think it would be interesting to see if the Jets do call Bill Belichick in. But, if they start winning, then obviously they don't need to.
Yeah. I would have to agree with you 100% on the Aaron Rodgers side of it. I mean, man, whoever thought, like, Peyton Manning, late in his career, did he ever get a head coach fired? Tom Brady, end of his career, did he ever get a head coach fired? Like, this is just bad looks on Aaron Rodgers, not showing up for training camp for personal party reasons. I mean, like, where's your head at, man? Just retire if you're going to be, like, this little petty. But, yeah, I think Robert Saleh shouldn't have got the firing because I think he's had, 7, 8 different quarterbacks in 3 years, starting quarterbacks. I mean, like, this is just – and Aaron Rodgers is just not, like, treating him as a coach. Like, he was – I don't know if you've seen the clip, like, Robert Saleh was trying to, like, comfort him, and Aaron Rodgers, like, pushed him away. Like, that's not good looks on Aaron Rodgers at all. But I mean, the Jets made a decision. They gave Aaron Rodgers all that money, so they had to fire Robert Saleh. So unfortunate for Saleh. I think he could get a really good job somewhere else as maybe a coordinator, but yeah, not good looks on Rodgers.
One thing about Robert Saleh I'm interested in, the 49ers defense so far this year has struggled. It'd be interesting if they do terminate their defensive coordinator, if they rehire Robert Saleh to take back over that defense. And y'all saw how good that,
yeah.
defense was under Robert Saleh.
That would definitely be something to look forward to.
Yeah, that's a great plan for the Niners if they do that.
All right, guys, let's move into the MVP race. So far, Patrick Mahomes is leading it, but let's talk about his season and who else we feel like could be the MVP.
I want to start this one.
I want to start.
No, let me start.
I really want to start this one.
So, whenever I seen this haphazard, the first thing I thought, is this a real stat? Is Mahomes actually leading polls on everybody?
He actually is. It's NFL.com has him. Everyone has him. I'm like looking at it like, what is going on right now?
Yeah, I had to do a double take when I seen the stat too.
So, look, okay, I'm not going to sit up here and bash Patrick Mahomes and deny the greatness of this kid and how quickly he's risen to stardom. I'm not. I mean, he's won 3 Super Bowls already, 4 of the last 5, I think, or maybe 4 of the last 6, something like that. Or no, 3 of the last 5. My fault. I'm completely arrogant on that. So I'm not going to sit here and like bash the greatness of him, but if anybody actually thinks, I mean, it is the Chiefs, they can turn it up at any given time. If Patrick Mahomes is the MVP through 5 weeks in the NFL, you might as well just change it from most valuable player to Mahomes valuable player. Because that is just absolutely idiocracy, in my opinion. You want to know who the real MVP through 5 weeks, in my opinion, is? It is Jaden Daniels. Reasons being, through 5 weeks, 1,200 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, 300 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns also, 8 total touchdowns, 2 interceptions. This kid has looked phenomenal. He has recreated Scary Terry. He has recreated the Commanders. This kid is balling out as a rookie. It's interesting to see if he can stay healthy and maintain this level of play. But right now, I think Jaden Daniels is the clear-cut MVP through 5 weeks. It is insane what this kid is doing. You know those stats I just read off? That hasn't been done ever in the history of the NFL. This kid is balling, and he's got the Commanders balling also.
I'm going to go off that. I really think Jaden Daniels has been the best player in the league this year. One thing, he's a rookie. You've seen it last year. They don't give MVPs to rookies. Let's be real. I think he has been the best player. I agree with that take. But personally, on the Mahomes side of things, Daniel Jones' numbers are better than Patrick Mahomes this year. And I don't know if you guys looked at it. Daniel Jones has under half the interceptions of Mahomes. How is he number 1 MVP? That is just outrageous by the NFL, sports betting. Outrageous. If you're going to bet on someone, I'd say either bet on Jaden Daniels or Sam Darnold, in my opinion, or Justin Jefferson. Because, I mean, the Vikings are so good that if they go really good record, they keep this record up, they're going to have to give it to one of the Vikings.
All right, guys. I personally agree with Jaden Daniels as well. I kind of feel like he's been the best player overall, but I mean, it's like you said, maybe not since he's a rookie, but we all know who the real best player is. That's what we got to kind of correlate down here. But let's move into our start, bench, or sell segment here. We're going to start off with Zay Flowers.
I have Flowers as a sit.
3, sit.
Yeah, I have Flowers as a sit this week. They're in a run-heavy offense against the Commanders team that has not been good against the run on defense. So I expect the Ravens to run early and often. Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson. And Lamar Jackson is starting to get his tight ends more involved, and not just Mark Andrews, like Isaiah Likely. He's hitting three tight ends, and unfortunately none of them are Mark Andrews. Actually, I can't think of who their third string tight end is.
Yeah, none of them are Mark Andrews.
Yeah, but he's hitting two of his three tight ends, and none of those two are Mark Andrews. So yeah, I think Flowers is a sit this week. I think the Ravens are going to get up early.
Teams.
Yeah, I think the Ravens are going to get up early, and then they're just going to run the ball a lot. So
yeah, big week for Henry probably.
All right, guys. What about Brian Thomas Jr.?
Start.
I like this as a start also. You know, here's a crazy stat for you to read. And I had him on my fantasy team, and I'm like a dummy. I dropped him. But he's catching 65% of his passes thrown to him. That stat
as a rookie
is insane. His targets are insane. His target share is insane. We thought Christian Kirk was going to start emerging as the number one receiver, but Brian Thomas Jr. right now is clearly the clear-cut number one receiver on this offense right now.
Yeah, and they have Gabe Davis too, and he ain't even getting any attention. Brian Thomas is getting all the looks, which is outstanding for him. So start.
All right. Moving on to Amari Cooper and the Browns here. What do y'all think?
Bench.
I think sit also. And the reason I think sit is one reason. Deshaun Watson. Like, Cooper has a high target share. He's getting targeted like at least 8 times a game. Sometimes he's getting his target as many times as like 13 to 14 times a game. But the problem is this quarterback's so terrible. Like, the Browns need to make a change at quarterback. They need to just eat the contract. You know, because of Deshaun Watson, he ruined guaranteed contracts for the entire league forever. There will never be another guaranteed contract in the history of the NFL because of Deshaun Watson. This dude, last week, we was watching the game. This dude starts walking off the field while his coach is trying to call in a fourth down play when you're down by 20 and you're on the opponent's side of the field to where you need to get a touchdown, not a field goal. And Deshaun Watson just slow walks out off the field out of the huddle. Like, not even caring. Like even if they cited reasons because he couldn't hear the play call. You are the QB. You are a franchise QB getting paid like a top 3 quarterback, top 5 quarterback at the very least. Fully guaranteed contract. And you're telling me you don't know a play? You can't make up a play in that huddle because your coach clearly wants you to go for it? You have no excuse. Because of that, everybody on the Browns is set right now. Hopefully the Browns wise up and they make a QB change here soon. Nick Chubb's going to be coming back too, so it's not like they have to have somebody in at quarterback that's like an all-star player. Between Nick Chubb and their defense and stuff like that, this is a solid.
Chubb's back this week.
Yeah, this is a solid roster overall. They're just being drugged down by a quarterback that's just a scumbag.
Yeah, Nick Chubb's back this week. I mean, Jerome Ford's been looking all right, so there's a backup running back, and then you got a really good defense, and David Njoku is also back too. So I think you only need that Joe Flacco type quarterback, a veteran player that can just fill in, eat that contract up.
All right, guys. Well, let's talk about Tony Pollard. What do y'all think about him?
Start.
Yeah, start. I think Tyjae Spears as a backup could be a low end flex too.
So yeah, Indianapolis has been terrible against the run. So and Tennessee is going to be a run first offense going forward with their quarterback uncertainty. Will Levis hasn't really played that great. It seems like him and the head coach of the Titans, is it Canales? No, that's the Panthers head coach. Forgive me, everybody. I can't think of his name right now, but it seems like they're just not on the same page. It doesn't really seem like it seems like there is a little bit of scrutiny going on there. But Will Levis hasn't played great, and the running backs have been solid between Spears and Pollard. So I think Pollard's a good option this week as an RB1 or an RB2.
All right. Let's talk about Breece Hall. Now, this one's a shocker to me. What do y'all think he's going to do?
You want me to go first? All right.
Yeah.
I think you should sell him. if you have him on your team, I think you should try to take trade options right now. Why his numbers are, or why he looks good, especially with the head coaching change to a defensive-minded coordinator head coach, and with a new offensive coordinator. I think they're going to start trying to run the ball a lot more and trying to get Breece a little bit more involved. But the fact is, on this, Aaron Rodgers has been so bad. Like, I don't think defenses are really fearing Aaron Rodgers right now. I think that they're going to start playing the run a little bit more, maybe even put these receivers in single coverage. I mean, the Aaron Rodgers just right now isn't very scary, and I just don't see that improving. So, I mean, if you look at this offense on the Jets, Breece Hall is the scariest player on the offense. So, what your defense is going to try to do, they're going to try to shut down Breece Hall, which they have done for the most part of this year. So, I mean, I could be wrong, and maybe Breece Hall completely picks it up and the entire future is different. But right now, I think why his trade value is still high, I think you should probably trade for him. Breece Hall, you can still get a lot out of him. You can still get a good, solid RB1 plus a good flex player out of him. So, yeah, I think that he's a sell option, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would either have to go start him or try to get rid of him as value's up, and there's just so much uncertainty with a new head coach coming in that you don't really know what that offense is going to be looking like. So I would try to get some good players in return while you can.
All right. I think that's about time, guys. Let's wrap this up with Chinn's top 5 power rankings in the NFL.
All right, so number 5, I got the Detroit Lions. They're back in the top 5. Jared Goff just came off of a career game, 18 of 18. Amon-Ra St. Brown even threw a touchdown in this game. But just think about that number, 18 of 18. What was he, like 260-something yards? It was incredible, man. The Lions are back. They're balling. They've only had that one loss to the Bucs, so I like the Lions right now at number 5.
And Jared Goff caught a touchdown.
Didn't I call that off, Aaron?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, Jared Goff caught the touchdown.
Number 4, I have the Texans. Why? CJ Stroud's balling. I am a little concerned about this team. I could have them higher in my rankings if it wasn't for the fact Nico Collins is now on IR, but they still have some good receivers there in Tank Dell and Stephon Diggs. But Now they get a little bit more guardable, though, with the injury to Nico Collins, and then you just never know with a hamstring. Like, if he is on IR for a hamstring injury, that's a minimum 4 weeks he's going to be out. So that tells you it's got to be a pretty severe hamstring injury. And the thing about hamstrings that we've always learned in the NFL, they linger the rest of the season. So it's going to really be interesting to see if Nico Collins is what he was the first 5 weeks of the season. If we might not see Nico Collins again this season, to be honest with you. He might come back in 4 weeks and be sluggish, and they just decide to shut him down before it turns into more like an ACL or an Achilles or something else. But so I do have some concerns on the Texans, but they are playing well on both sides of the ball. So I like the Texans at number 4. Number 3, I have the Washington Commanders. Why? They're being led by the MVP of Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels is balling. They do have some concerns on that defense. Their defense does not look good, so I am nervous about those reasons. If they can figure out their defense, keep in mind Dan Quinn is a heck of a defensive coach. He's a defensive-minded player, so if he can right this defense around, I look to see the Commanders be tough all season. Number 2, the Kansas City Chiefs. They're 5-0. You can't really say much about it. They're 5-0 with all their injuries. I heard a rumor they is calling Haphazard to play receiver for him next week. So
I'm on the roster.
So they're just calling everybody right now because they're just signing people off the streets and they're still winning games. So the greatness of Patrick Mahomes, you never know when he's going to turn it up. The greatness of Travis Kelce, those two will always keep you in a game. Juju Smith-Schuster looked good last week. The Kansas City Chiefs still continue to find ways to win, even with half their roster depleted. But they're still not better than my number 1 team. My number 1 team is the Minnesota Vikings. Why? Because they're balling on both sides of the ball. They're top 5 in offense and defense. That's tough to do in the NFL. It's going to be interesting to see if they can maintain this level of play. But Sam Darnold's playing like an MVP quarterback. I'm convinced at this point you could put me in at quarterback for the Vikings and Justin Jefferson would still find the end zone. Justin Jefferson continues to ball out no matter who his quarterback is. You know, Justin Jefferson, you think about the quarterbacks he's played with in the last 2 years. He's got Kirk Cousins, Sam Darnold, what's his name, Dobbs last year. Y'all know cancer patient Dobbs.
Yeah.
Everybody called him.
Yeah.
Josh Dobbs.
That's his name. And then at the beginning of the year, J.J. McCarthy before. So in the last 2 seasons, Jets has had 4 different quarterbacks throwing him a football, and he's still playing lights out. So the chemistry between him and Darnold look good right now. T.J. Hawkinson's going to be back in a couple weeks, and that defense is scary right now. So they just picked off Aaron Rodgers 3 times last week. I like the Vikings as my number 1 team in the NFL.
All right, guys, so let's switch it over to Replays' grade of Chinn's list here.
All right. There's one team you left out, which is going to make my grade go a little lower. Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson has had...
The same Baltimore Ravens that almost lost to the Bengals last week, and the Bengals are like a terrible team in the NFL right now.
Let me show you a stat.
In fact, they should have lost to the Bengals.
Let me show you a stat real quick, all right? Lamar Jackson currently has 176 more passing yards, 98 more rushing yards, and 3 more touchdowns, and 2 fewer turnovers than he did from the first 6 games of last year.
So, of the 5 teams I named, which one of those 5 are you putting?
I'll tell you. I'm going to give you my grade right now. I'm going to be giving you a B+. And the reason is I do not have the Houston Texans in the top 5, and I have the Baltimore Ravens at 5, Lions at 4. The Nico Collins injury is too harsh. And like you said, that's going to be lingering all season long. And I don't think the Texans will be that good. Tank Dell's also has an injury, too. So Stephon Diggs is basically like on his own.
We're not talking about the best teams in 4 weeks. We're talking about the best 5 teams right now. And right this second, you clearly think the Baltimore Ravens are a better team than the Houston Texans. You're standing on that hill. The same Baltimore Ravens that are struggling on defense gave up 40 points to the Bengals. Now, granted, the Bengals do have a high-powered offense, but they've also lost oh, my God. You got my blood boiling on this one.
A 3-win streak right now.
A 3-win streak? A 3-win streak against who?
Against good teams. You just said the Bengals.
The Bengals are a good team? You're saying the Bengals are a good team right now?
Yes. I give you a B+. So, Haphazard, what do you think? What are you giving them?
I mean, after that, mine's going to sound tame. I was going to give it an A. I was just going to switch the Lions and Texans around. I just feel like the Lions have played better than the Texans.
Yeah, Lions are much better than the Texans.
Other than that, though,
the Ravens,
I don't know where the Ravens come into this.
The Ravens have lost to the Chiefs and the Raiders. The teams they have beaten is the Cowboys, who are frauds, the Bills, who are frauds, and the Bengals, who have been a bottom 5 team this year. That's your take on a top 5 team over the Houston Texans.
Let's read it out. Let's read
Oh my God!
Texans,
all right, chat. Thank you all for watching this video. Make sure y'all like and subscribe. Subscribe. I got to get off here because I'm starting to lose my composure against this kid.